Are we ready? Okay, as a substitute demonstrator, I'm going to make an egg, a boxed egg. So the first thing, you need, I'm not wearing, you need glasses. For those who have never turned or are starting to turn, you always make sure that the lathe that you're starting on, the speed doesn't, because it will start wobbling. Okay. You reduce the speed. What I'm going to do, basically, I'm going to turn a 10 in here, turn a 10 in here, cut it in half, and then start hollowing the two. It's actually basically two hollow pieces. So we'll work with that. I will rough turn it first, and we're just going to true it up now. Now some people like turning with face mat. I normally turn with a face mat. I think the club should afford a slot. Pardon me? I just flattened out the end there. Now at this end here, I'm going to start. Oh, I'm not really looking. When you're using a diamond parting tool, remember, it will not jam like a standard parting tool, but a standard parting tool is just straight steel, and if you don't give yourself enough space, it will lock. Another thing, if you do, well, this is basically maple, and there's no real, well, there is a bit of grain here, so I guess we'll have to keep the egg matching. So the next part will be over here, and I'm not much of a talker when I I'm just gonna switch it over for a second. Let's go with this.
The box up for grab.
Sure.
You've got enough.
I'm always looking for freebies.
You've got enough.
I learned from the old guys. He's always looking for freebies.
You know, if you go to a symposiums, they go, nah, unless you know the guy. Remember, you always lock it more than one area. You lock it because otherwise, sometimes it just doesn't lock properly. And
Yes, I do.
I'm just going to fix this one a little bit. Okay. Pardon?
Is that you're going to go right through? Can I mention something?
But
Oh, I forgot to mention about next week. Homemade tools, ideas. Sorry.
no, I'll keep going.
Okay.
What I've done, I always like to keep the end of, because when you turn it over, I make sure that the bottom that fits here is always trued up flat, and that way there you don't run into any other problem. Now, as this is going to go into that, there's several ways you can make a box. One where you have just basically the tenon goes inside. You can have some that go grab, it all depends how you want to make a box. As it's going to be an egg, I'm just going to widen this up here, because that's why I gave myself two ways of grabbing it. I'm just going to make this a little bit wider. Now we can shape it here a little bit before I go through. Now it all depends how big you want to make your egg. And remember, an egg has a specific shape. It's not, conical. It's a bit conical in shape. So. I'm not perfecting it right now. It's when I put them together that I will judge where I'm going. Remember, always turn off your lathe if you're going to move your tool rest. I'm now taking a skew to make the part of the box perfectly straight and flat. I know some people don't like going into the box. In this position, what I do. Okay, and now I'm just going to go right through. The guys in the front can catch it. If I had a little saw, I would. So now you have two pieces. Now I'm going to continue making my the top part of the egg. It's a little broken piece right there that I'm trying to get. Okay. Once you get rid of it, then I can go into it.
That's me.
Are me, Ricky? Yeah, I know, we all do that. Remember, the person who tells you never gets a cash never turns.
That's me every Saturday.
Yeah. That's because if you look, this one is nice and smooth. I had trued it up. This one was right at the edge and I left a little chunk on it. Normally, I know there's some people who don't believe in using Forstner bits or just hollowing. Well, you know, Forstner bits do have their purpose. Recognize that. First, I try to get my the actual size close to it. I know we're not even close, but where did I do it? Right there. Just so we can. Okay. Because remember, if, you can take wood off, but you can't really put it back on. The old rule. And see, now well, an egg, it depends on, see, we're just a hair loose, but when we go in, I'm not going to take, I'll make it a little more tapered. And because we're just a hair loose. One way to solve that is you take a hair off of here and it'll go in deeper. And, now this, you can save yourself a lot of time just by taking a Forstner bit, which would be pardon me? What? Yes, I'm using a spit. I could use a scraper, but I'd rather cut. Oh, I have scrapers.
Your light?
I had it up. Oh no, somewhere. Okay. Definite good measuring. It's right about there. There. Let's see where we're at. See that? Okay. So now, push off this one a bit more. Sometimes I know if I were at home, I have this one of these, but it has a big rubber cone on it. I would push that in there just to give myself a little bit more safety of when I'm cutting, because you're actually pushing that way now, this way here. Now, depending on how thick we want to make it, that'll come after. Cool. Okay, I think I can go a little bit more on the cone inside. Some people like scrapers. I have lots of scrapers that I bought that I never even use, because I find when you're inside of something, it's always. I know Roy sharpened a couple of scrapers, but. How I cut, I know Fred does this, I'll just show you. I know Fred does, I've done it, see this, the cut where you start and you go all the way up. I do it in reverse. I do it this way. I've always done it that way. You know, like where you start cutting and you go and you pull up and back. I just like that squeal that this makes. Okay, and it's rounded inside. Now, technically I would kind of finish off the inside a bit, because once we get back to the other side, but it's not bad there now. Okay, so now, now this here, we're going to leave that the way it is. And the other one. I'm going to pass this one on, but I will need it back in a minute. Damiano, ready? Well, I do wear a mask and a kind of a respirator. I have the Trend Air, because I don't care what anybody says. When your nose starts running, you know you're sucking in some wood. Now this is my bottom part. I'm going to go that way for now, for starters. I'm going to just, with a skew, what I always do again, I just make that perfectly flat. Should be good, hopefully. Remember, you're not supposed to move the when you're running. We all say that. When you do it the way I do it, you don't see it, but inside there's a little point, and whenever you come back in, you got to kind of try to get. Remember, you never want to sand the, I think it's the tenon part, because, well, depends on what kind of box you want. We're going to go down a little bit more because we're in about there. All right.
I usually stick the gouge in and put my thumb on the gouge.
I like my finger.
And then,
My finger is my
then
better
hold it on the
gauge.
outside. Oh, maybe one of those funny things.
Did you notice what finger I use?
Finger.
And then if you find that it's a little bit of a problem, let me do my party tool right here. This is where some people like to use scrapers. I also wear hearing protection. Okay, that's pretty good except for the little nipple on the bottom. Okay, the other piece. Now, the thickness of your egg is now technically this would be all finished sanding. It's not bad, but you can't go back to it after. So now I normally do, I go like that, and actually it's pretty good. And now we can bring back one other thing we have to remember. What do I do with the pencil? I lost your pencil.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. You have to remember where we are, because if you don't, you will have a cracked egg. Okay, we're good. Perfect. Yeah. Now you have to remember that this is your front and this is your bottom, so otherwise you end up And now basically all you do is refine your egg till, let's stop it here for a second, and you keep refining it to whatever, you know, what you visualize an egg to be. Because right now, if you look, the pattern matches pretty good. Somewhat shapy of an egg.
You want a bit of sandpaper?
We'll get that after. You want to get me a piece, Ricky? I know we're not supposed to, but... No, I didn't need a... I had a piece on the side there, Ricky. Out?
Get you on.
Well, whatever. Okay, before I go too low. No, give me 120 or something. 120, 240. What's that? 240. Okay, this is good. Nope, 120. Yeah, this is fine. Remember, for those who don't turn too often, remember to take off your tool rest because
120.
well, I think this should be fine. Because as some of our members will attest to, you will catch your fingers. Myself, I see a little bump right here, so let's see. That's not bad, actually. As Ricky or whoever wants it. Close enough. Finish. You want. And it will come off. Pardon? No, it's gone. Yeah, I know it is.
Want tape?
No, we're done. There. Should have done a little bit of sandpaper on the other one. Okay. Now basically, now you create your bottom. Now for those who don't have all these fancy chucks and whatever, you can do it with a...
Get one.
Pardon? Thank you, Ricky. Yeah, Ricky's got one for sale. What you can do is with a jam chuck, you would leave the piece that you have here, jam it in, and then you could turn the bottom of it.
How's the box gonna sit?
Pardon?
How's the box gonna sit?
It's an egg.
Gonna sit? Yeah, but how's it gonna sit on the table?
I just make an egg. I don't, my egg, my box.
So
If you want it, you can flatten off the bottom.
In an egg cup.
Yeah, now you have to make an egg cup. Yeah, but that's it. I mean,
Okay, so this one just goes on the side.
this is a if you want to do that, we can part this off and leave the bottom there.
No, I'm just asking.
No, it's an egg. I mean, it's an egg box. I don't.
Why don't you tell them how you want it, Ricky?
Yeah, George.
So now remember, with feeling, because there isn't much holding it, technically you would now this could be thicker, thinner, or I just left it pretty, but normally the ones I have, I normally make them much thinner, but I mean, for, you know, just
Saying it's for Ricky.
pardon?
Saying it's for Ricky.
No, you can make it as thick as you want. I mean, it depends on what you... Normally it could be, I mean, I left a 1/4 inch, but... And now, Ricky, you got to come and catch it, though, huh? And a little bit. There's your egg. And that's it.